Kink is one of those words that you look over your shoulder a couple of times to discuss without it being one of the racist ones, which is always a plus. Kink means different things to different people. Like to some people, it's kinky if the girl's on top. To other people, once you start talking about anal, you're getting really interesting. Yet for other people still, fisting isn't kinky, but once you start talking about two fists in the same hole, well, now you're talking. I guess it comes down to the shame you feel for doing what you're doing. Well, when it's happening, there's probably no sense of shame. 6 days, 23 hours, and 55 seconds a week, you're an imposter. It's literally the 99.9% of the rest of your day where you do feel the shame. That sweet 5 seconds where you're being choked right at the moment of climax, that's you finally being you. Does butt stuff count as kink? I don't know. Anal never really appealed to me. I figure if it's a frequently searched subheading on Pornhub, it must be. If that's your thing, that's fine. More power to you. But pleasing a woman can be so difficult already, and all the other parts of her that aren't her ass are there for you. But you're just like, let's ignore all that and go straight to where the poop is. Then you have BDSM, which is pretty popular, but I feel like BDSM seems less like a kink and more of an expensive hobby. I'm sure it doesn't have to be. You can just, I don't know, call each other your designated roles, figure out who the dungeon master is, and then you roll your 20-sided die to figure out if your move will be successful. But eventually, you're going to have to buy shit. Like, you're going to need cuffs one day. Then that's not going to be enough. You just gotta have a ball gag. Then 2 years later, you realize you're running out of room to store stuff, and then you end up having to get rid of some of the stuff you don't use. And they're not going to accept any of that stuff at Goodwill. And the other thing is, how do you do all of that if you're married and you have kids? Like, let's say you're lucky enough where you can carve out like 3 days out of your week where you're actually able to have sex again. And just that much is crazy. Where the hell do you store all of your fuck-accessories? You're going to end up with a sex chest in the middle of your bedroom. And I don't mean sex chest as in the 904th most searched kink on Pornhub. I mean something that looks like a treasure chest, but is filled with all kinds of disgusting things. And then your kids will ask you,
"What's in there?"
And you can't just say what's really in there, so you tell them it's blankets Grandma brought with her when she came here from the old country. Then one day you died before you expected to, and your kids are going through all of your stuff, and they find leather assless chaps drenched in lube. And let's face it, your kids probably aren't that smart. They just think,
oh, these are what they used as blankets back in the day.
And then you have generations after you handing down the secrets of your online shopping history down as sacred heirlooms. No one wants that. In the end, I think one of the kinkiest things you can do is have a kid. It doesn't sound that kinky, but imagine you just met a girl off Tinder. And you go out on a first date, dinner, and a movie. I don't know what single people do. I've been married forever. And then you end up back at your apartment. You know, you're kissing, you're making out. And she says to you, what are you into? And you tell her,
I want to have unprotected sex with you and finish inside.
And she says, oh yeah? And you say, yes, and, like anybody who's ever done improv, yes, and I want my sperm to grow inside you. And it hacks into your blood supply, and it starts to change your body in ways you never thought it could or would, that you have absolutely no control over, from the inside out. And over 9 months, you grow to love the parasite growing inside of you. And then, as she's putting her pants back on, you follow her. And then after it comes out of you, we must feed it and clean it when it poops everywhere. And even if you decide you don't like me, you will love this sex child more than you ever planned to. And then as you're chasing her to her car, and even if you decide you don't like me, even if you fucking hate me, you'll look at this new person we brought into existence ourselves. You'll see him and see a part of me as a constant reminder that you fucked me once. And then, as her brake lights turn into pinpoints on the horizon, you'll think to yourself,
Man, I should have stuck with anal.